I'm Bev McKay, and this is an overview of my completed work in the Educational Technology program at Boise State. These videos will demonstrate how the work I've done in the program relates to the Association of Educational Communication and Technology Standards. These standards are also known as AECT. The first standard pertains to content knowledge. In this standard, knowledge is demonstrated by creating, using, assessing, and managing theoretical and practical applications of educational technology and processes. To show compliance in Indicator 1.1, creating, I present my jigsaw activity. This activity presented students with 3 questions to research for more information. After researching, they were to demonstrate the concept to other students. This helps students develop their critical thinking skills. Indicator 1.2 pertains to using. This indicator is a checkpoint to demonstrate the selection and uses of technology resources and processes to support student learning. For this standard, I selected my final project in my 505 class. We were tasked with researching a program and determining whether it should be continued. I choose to research a program that my school implemented called Premium Learning Teams. This project has helped me show my students how to write an evaluation report as well as calculate statistics. Indicator 1.3, Assessing and Evaluating. For my 506 class, we were assigned to write an online instructional manual showing the correlation between technology and instructional materials. My online instructional manual walks students through the process of using online databases for research. Indicator 1.4, Managing, shows how to achieve goals using the resources given. To exhibit this standard, I wrote a paper on edutainment. Edutainment comes in many forms and not just restricted to computer games. Indicator 1.5 pertains to ethics. This indicator deals with determining that the ethics set by the AECT are being followed. My digital divide slideshow discusses how the words digital divide and digital inequality are used interchangeably but are actually different matters. AECT Standard 2, Content Pedagogy. The standard demonstrates the correlation between educational technology and processes based on content and pedagogy. There are 5 indicators in this standard: creating, using, assessing, evaluating, managing, and ethics. Indicator 2.1, Creating. This indicator shows that the creation of a product fosters learning and performance. I created a web page that helps students write a research paper. This page also contains links to other sites that will assist them with their papers. To further demonstrate this indicator, I used the case studies that were done in my 535 class. These case studies deal with gamification and how the younger generation is very game-orientated. Indicator 2.2, Using. Under this indicator, I'm using my request for proposal that I created for my 535 class. This project was to devise a plan to create a proposal to help a company market their product. Indicator 2.3, Assessing and Evaluating. This pertains to demonstrating an inquiry process that assesses the adequacy of learning and evaluating. For my 512 class, I had to do an online course critique. I reviewed an online Linux command line basics course by using the Quality Matters Higher Education rubric. Indicator 2.4, Managing. This indicator deals with developing and demonstrating content pedagogy. For this indicator, I wrote a paper discussing how we as teachers must adjust our teaching styles to accommodate students that have been raised in a digital era. Indicator 2.5, Ethics. For this category, we were to assign and select media technology and processes that were to emphasize the diversity in our society. In my 502 class, I created a scavenger hunt to raise awareness on plagiarism. This enforces to the students that they need to be sure and cite all sources. AECT Standard 3, Learning Environments. This standard is where candidates exhibit their competency of creating, using, evaluating, and managing effective learning environments. Indicator 3.1, Creating, Designing, Instructional design products based on learning principles and research-based best practices. For this section, I had 2 examples that showcase my understanding of this concept. In my 502 class, I designed a web quest to help students discover the opportunities to pay it forward by volunteering. My other project was for my 512 class, and for it I created an online course shell in Canvas. This course shell was designed for a new class that the school I worked for was bringing on board. Indicator 3.2, using. Selecting appropriate processes and resources for learning based on principles, theories, and effective practices. For this indicator, I created a survey using SurveyMonkey to help me with my online course shell project for 512. Changes were implemented as suggested to help with the shell. Indicator 3.3, assessing and evaluating. Using multiple assessments to collect data to make an informed decision on improvement processes. In my 551 class, I choose to write a grant to build a media lab for the school I'm employed by. This project has 3 sections: needs assessment, objectives, and budget. Each section requires a data analysis. Indicator 3.4, managing. Establishing mechanisms that aid in learning. In my 535 class, one of the assignments was to write a paper on educating through comics. Comics are an excellent way to capture students' attention. Even at the college level, I have seen this work successfully. Indicator 3.5, ethics. Fostering a learning environment where ethics adhere to copyright, fair use, and open access to resources. The M-Learning project in 502 allows the student to explore the Smithsonian. This project gives the students an opportunity to research one of the Smithsonian museums. Indicator 3.6, diversity of learners. This indicator is to foster a learning community. In my 551 class, a portion of the grant writing project was to do a needs assessment as to whether there was a definite need for the grant. In my project, I explained the background of the situation as to why the media lab was needed. AECT Standard 4, Professional Skills and Knowledge. This standard pertains to designing, implementing, and evaluating technology-rich learning environments. Indicator 4.1, Collaborative Practice. This indicator involves working with others to create instructional material. For one of my 503 projects, I created an instructional design manual on how to create a digital portfolio. In order to do this, I had to interview individuals who had already created portfolios as well as assess the need for digital portfolios. Indicator 4.2, Leadership. Leads peers in designing and implementing technology learning. Another crucial piece of the grant writing project in 551 is to set objectives of what you want to accomplish with the grant. Without an objective, those involved will wander blindly and have no idea when they have accomplished their goal. Indicator 4.3, Reflection. Analyzing and interpreting data and artifacts for effectiveness. In my reflective paper for 504, I researched the theories of education. There are many theories, and while each theory has valid points, they tend to be very subjective. Indicator 4.4, Assessing and evaluating. Design and implement methods to assess that the plan is aligned with the goals required. With the internet being a necessary part of one's life, there needs to be a way to accommodate those who need help with web accessibility. In my 502 class, I designed a page that lists several sites that users could go to for help for web accessibility. Indicator 4.5, Ethics. Demonstrates ethical behavior with respect to the diversity of learners. Another piece of the grant proposal for 551 was to write an inquiry letter to generate interest in the organization that you are seeking a grant for. It provided an opportunity to sell the organization and the good it does for the community. AECT Standard 5, Research. Research which involves exploring, evaluating, synchronizing, and applied methods of inquiry. Indicator 5.1, Theoretical Foundation. Demonstrating foundational knowledge of research. In 501, we were assigned to write an annotated bibliography. Annotated bibliographies are an excellent tool for summarizing sources pertaining to the topic assigned. Indicator 5.2, Method. Applying research methodology to solve problems and enhance practice. In 501, we were assigned to do a school evaluation. I chose to evaluate the school I work at. I assess them in areas of curriculum, support, connectivity, and innovation. They are given either an emergent, intelligent, or integrated rating. For my assessment, I determined that my school was emergent due to the fact that they have several areas that they can improve in. Indicator 5.3, Assessing and Evaluating. Applying strategies to assess and evaluate processes and resources. For this indicator, I used the Learning Theories paper that I wrote for 535. We were assigned to write a paper on the activity, constructive motivation, and situated learning theories. Indicator 5.4, Ethics, using guidelines and procedures while researching. In 504, I was assigned to write a paper on educational theory. After researching them all, I felt that with my background in information technology, the theory I could relate to the best was the connectivism theory. The paper discusses the principles of connectivism and what a connectivist learner is.